Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. I will give a quick preamble before Travis starts for the presentation, but wanted to thank the entire Lightworks team for having us on. And we look forward to kind of giving you a little bit of what Legrand is seeing in terms of the hybrid workplace and kind of the changes that we are all have gone through. And as Legrand and the many brands that fall underneath it, we Chief, Daylight, Vadio, Middle Atlantic, and many others, Luxel and such. There's a lot of products that you may not necessarily see as being a largely infrastructure product, and we're influenced largely by companies like Crestron and folks that you in Jupiter that you've seen and are hearing from today. But there is a lot of technology built into our solutions, and one of the things we wanted to kind of talk about is as we go through these changes, and have come out the other side, we're still in that flux of what hybrid and what the work space is going to be. And as people have started to return from work, they're trying to bring a little bit of the comfortability of what they had in a work from home environment back into the workplace. And there's a lot of technology changes and adapting those technology changes into the new spaces back in the workplace. So Travis will kind of cover how our products kind of fit into those spaces, what we've seen as trends, and show some of the examples of designs that we've done over the last couple of years in various spaces, from higher ed all the way through to standard corporate business spaces, and give you an idea of kind of the things that you see from Legrand and our solutions. So with that, I will let Travis take it on, and then we'll look forward to hearing from everybody at the end.
Awesome. Thanks, Art, and thank you, Nicole. So Art kind of laid the groundwork there with kind of what we're going to go over today. Hybrid workforce, popular topic of the day for sure, and for this year. So like Art said, Legrand AV is actually several brands, stuff like Chief, Daylight, Middle Atlantic, CTG, Vadio, Luxel, and Legrand AV is actually just one small division within Legrand as a whole. We actually have DPC, which is data power control. We have EWS, which is electrical wiring system. So there's a lot to the Legrand portfolio, and we specifically cover the AV version. So commercial AV, residential AV, and in the IT world as well. We're headquartered up in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Here's a few of the markets, pretty popular markets, I think that we all kind of work in between education, K through 12, higher ed, corporate, house of worship, government, healthcare, production, and all those different applications. Legrand is a really key part in making some of those systems and those solutions work, whether that's the lecture capture for higher ed, for students to learn, whether they're in class or remote. As well as digital signage, conferencing, mission control systems, and sort of stuff like that. So Legrand kind of has a full spectrum of a whole bunch of stuff and parts and pieces, some kind of behind the scenes, but some video conferencing solutions that we'll kind of touch on today as well. And I'll also mention, Art, if you have anything you'd like to add as we kind of keep on going down the road here, feel free to interrupt me as well. All right, so let's look at some spaces. Over the past couple of years, spaces have changed from, quite honestly, being empty in the offices to being full at home, now into a little bit of a mix of a hybrid work environment, where even as an example, as Legrand is a company, I know our headquarters up in Minnesota, we've got some people that come to work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, some Tuesday, Thursday. And you really want to have the technology in place to kind of fit the needs of whatever that day, that application is within those meeting spaces, whether you are working from home or working there in the office. So we're going to look at a couple trends, mainly three that we'll talk about today. And the first one is going to be flexible design. So for instance, we pretty used to those big, large conference rooms of the past, which I don't think they're necessarily going away, but you need to have more options in that workplace where you can have those larger meetings, perhaps maybe also have smaller meeting spaces that people that are attending that meeting can also join remotely within that meeting or within that same corporate office. And having technology nowadays that you want to invest in, something Legrand I know is really focusing on is whatever you're purchasing today is going to be able to be reconfigured or reused, many years down the road. So a very, flexible option, whether we're all back in the office someday, or that kind of hybrid option. Even in this example, pretty open space work environments, you still have some of your designated conference rooms, but then perhaps people can still kind of join from that, single use space here on the right. Maybe that could be an office, it could be your cube, whatever that may be, but still have the ability to, join in those meetings, whether you're there in the office or remote. One thing Art did allude to is also ultra-wide solutions. So I know we've had Jupiter present earlier today. Legrand has a couple solutions actually for ultra-wide display mounts. So that 21:9 ultra-wide solution for Microsoft Teams. And then we actually have options for ultra-wide projector screens. So, and in some of these pictures here, you can see we've got some of our Mid-Atlantic forum collaboration products, which is actually great for those flexible spaces where maybe you want to move some furniture around, redesign it depending on who's coming into the office that day. But this whole kind of solution is based around kind of the be seen, be heard, meeting equity type of application that Microsoft Teams is kind of going for. All right, second trend, technology for hybrid collaboration. So some of this kind of, evolves with having those meeting spaces hybrid. For instance, we're so used to working from home, kind of having a meeting space in an office that kind of has those comforts of home where you can kind of flip up your laptop, connect to your monitor, and be able to present or do your meeting remotely, even in an office feel. Is kind of helps optimize that workflow and that efficiency that you can have in those new meeting spaces there in the office. For instance, even looking at this mobile hybrid conference space solution, which I'll have a diagram here. We'll kind of dive in here in a little bit with some options here. But like I said, mobile carts are super popular with Chief and Mid-Atlantic. We have, probably at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 different options. Everything from your, auto adjustable height, motorized or manual height adjustments, standard height adjustment, all sorts of different flavors of cart applications that you can use to really bring that meeting space anywhere you may want in that work environment. This is actually kind of to highlight one of our newer mobile carts from Chief. It's the Chief Voyager cart. And this is actually a complete redesign. And it's really meant to be more of that like elegant cart look. A lot of mobile carts get the wide feet, which is very useful in some instances. But our Voyager cart is kind of supposed to be that little bit more of an elegant piece of product that you can easily wheel in, easily wheel out. You can see it comes with 2 different colors here, black and white. The black one is actually shipping. The white one, I believe, should be shipping right around the holidays. And then you can do both portrait and landscape mounting for this. And then they also come with a optional shelf that you can, purchase separately. And you can kind of see here in the bottom, you've got some storage down here. You actually have some storage that can go up through the raceways on the side. And then you've got behind the panel, kind of partnered with Mid-Atlantic and some of our component storage. The word is slipping my mouth right now, Art, but the lever lock system to be able to, secure product and gear without it falling or moving around. And it's really nice and tidy. So this is our new Chief Voyager cart. Again, some of this is shipping.
I'll jump in real quick, Travis. There, one thing they kind of mentioned is, carts are a great solution, and definitely in the flexible space area. But one of the things that we've designed all of our products around is including that equipment storage, having the technology in there and not having to set it aside, and still keeping it protected from from theft in open public spaces, or from people touching equipment where you don't want to, and keeping it so that it is an elegant solution, not just a cart with equipment strapped on, where you sometimes see that in areas where the cart is great, but necessarily other designs don't necessarily take into the equation the active equipment that needs to go on to make the equipment work in the real environment. So with that, I'll throw it back to you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. All right, so the last trend I was going to kind of talk about from a market standpoint is enhancing the remote experience. So you may think this could kind of sound silly because we've all been working from home, for the most part the last couple of years, right? But Legrand has great office solutions to have that professional, feel at home. So that whenever you are going into the office or you're working from home, you have that very similar functionality, efficiency that you have in the office can be replicated back at that home solution. So stuff from Chief for monitor mounts. You can even have wire mold, which I don't even think was in that first slide I mentioned. Wire mold is a little bit of a newer product or brand from Legrand AV. And they do a whole bunch of power solutions. So even our mod power, which is a really cool solution where if you have reconfigurable meeting spaces, you have your starting point power outlet that goes into the wall, and then you can daisy chain up to 6 of these little receptacles that you kind of see here on this desk. And you have some that are surface mount that clamp on. You have some that are surface mount that are flush with the desk. And then of course, C2G for docking stations. We have a plethora of different docking stations you can pick from. But really the point here is, to have that same, home solution, similar as you are in the office. So you're super efficient in what you're doing, whether you come into the office to work or you're staying there at home. All righty, so we kind of talked a little bit about, market, hybrid workforce and all that sort of stuff. But the team that I'm actually on is on our solutions engineering team. So part of what we do, and it's headed by Brian Retzlaff, our manager, myself, Alan Jacobson, and Brian Gaze. And we are essentially a tool for all of our customers to use for any projects, opportunities. If you need design work, we'll actually, put together a whole bill of materials, a drawing. It could be a simple overview drawing. It could be a line drawing of you connect this input to this output, sorts of stuff like that. But we kind of give you a full design of what Legrand has to offer across all of our different brands. And we do have our new solutions engineering website that you can go to. I will give you a heads up. It's fairly new, so I believe it is currently hidden on the website before they officially launch it. But we can shoot this link in the chat for you guys to be able to go check out. It's a great resource to be able to contact us directly. In fact, I could have put it on here, but we have an av.solutions@legrand.com email address that if you have any questions for projects, opportunities, that you can reach out to us for, and we can help get the ball rolling, meet with you guys, meet with your customer, and kind of get that full scope of that project. And here's just kind of an example of spaces that we can design. It can be super simple, very complicated, whatever that may be. We're happy to help with that.
One thing to add in there, Travis, I think is important for folks is we don't necessarily just take it from a Legrand only perspective.
Yep.
is we want to understand what else you're using in there and how the interoperability will be there. We're by no means are product experts in every product that's out on there, and we engage and have relationships with many of the manufacturers who are on these calls today or on the show. But we try to take into account here's where our product can be in the line, whether it's an active component or an infrastructure product, and take those into account. So it's not just an end-to-end Legrand solution. It is here's what's in the room I have already. How can you help me, and where can I use Legrand's products in that space? And that's where our solution engineering team is really helping both end users and our integration partners like Lightworks to look at it and say, here's where we can do, and give you a design to speed up the process of designing these spaces and the things that we see. So.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. We value all those relationships with other manufacturers that we work closely with, because again, we aren't the full end-to-end solution. We've got to rely on other manufacturers for certain aspects. So very good point. So speaking of solutions, let's kind of dive into a couple solutions diagrams that are actually completely available to you right now. If you go to legrandav.com under our resources tab, you'll see over to the right solutions diagrams. And that's actually a great starting point where you can actually browse by application. It could be small, medium, large conference rooms. It could be mobile carts. It could be courtrooms. It could be different types of classrooms, broadcasts, whatever that application may be. And we actually have these nice visual diagrams online. We give you a complete list of materials. You can even download this actual diagram. You can download the parts list, and we'll actually give you, I believe, MSRP pricing on there. And we'll even call out, what other components you may need from other manufacturers, whether it's a display, a DSP, projector, whatever that might be. But some of the ones that I felt like were pretty key to the hybrid workforce that we're kind of talking about today is some of these hybrid conferencing spaces. So this is an example for a small conference space. Again, this is super repeatable. I mean, we've got so many conference rooms across the US. To be able to have something that is kind of cookie cutter across the board, so that no matter what meeting space you walk into, you're going to have that similar experience. And this actually utilizes one of our conference shot AV cameras, which we actually have very good inventory of right now. And also, side note, inventory levels for Legrand as a whole is doing fairly well. There's a couple, that are taking a little bit longer for manufacturing and sorts of stuff like that. But specifically, cameras are doing extremely well. Conference shot AVs in stock, but here we're utilizing all of our different brands with the Chief wall box, storage box, mounts. If you didn't know this, Middle Atlantic, they have furniture. I think sometimes people think Middle Atlantic is just a rack manufacturer, but we also make high-end aesthetic furniture for AV spaces that are designed around the AV going into those spaces. So all that proper ventilation, ease of installation, rack mounting all your gear is part of what they do as well. So this is just a quick example of a small meeting space. Here's one for full video coverage. So some of our Robo Shots, Dante ceiling mics. We also have our own network switch brand, Luxel. And this could be kind of a medium large conference space, maybe where you need multiple cameras. It could be that flexible space where maybe you're moving tables around and you need to reposition those cameras. And again, we do have that ceiling speaker Dante application now that's a little bit newer with audio. Here's a quick example of some hybrid conferencing larger spaces where we're actually utilizing our Vadio Matrix Mix, which is actually more like a production switcher. So you get that nice preview program, kind of live production feel, but without that huge, large production cost. So you can have up to 6 cameras, a couple extra inputs for content. You even have your own joystick control and sorts of stuff like that. But this I kind of see for maybe those high-end boardrooms, lecture halls, maybe even some government applications for high-end courtrooms and sorts of stuff like that, where you want that live production type of feel. And then the other kind of important stuff is mobile conferencing. We kind of mentioned it earlier, being able to move those meeting spaces wherever you may want within that office space. Is great flexibility to have those if you want to set up a meeting in a lobby area, or just outside the office in a little meeting room. So we have several mobile hybrid conferencing spaces as well. And again, pointing out this ComfortShot AV, it does come in a nice little bundle with table mics, speakers as well, so you're not having to use the audio coming out of your monitor. And then easy connectivity, like our docking station from C2G, and we have all sorts of flavors of those as well. And then I mentioned it earlier, but ultra wide. So this is one of our ultra wide display conferencing spaces. We actually have here our IntelliShot M camera, which IntelliShot, if you're not super familiar with it, we've had it out for now probably a year and a half or two, but it's our auto framing camera. And we're doing all that auto framing based off of motion in the room. So just essentially think that whoever walks into that meeting space, it's always going to maintain a perfect full view of all those participants in that space. But this is going to be the first one we actually have Microsoft Teams certified. So the standard model is the IntelliShot. The Teams certified one is going to be the IntelliShot M. And then we also have our EasyIP 30 EPTZ, which is kind of part of that auto framing family, but that's going to fall under our EasyIP family of products. And then here's a couple, simple at-home conferencing solutions with Chief Display monitor arms, power, network, mesh networking systems, even for home. And then here's another mobile hybrid conferencing cart system. This one's actually from Mid-Atlantic, and it integrates our one of our video cameras built into the. You can kind of see here, it's a little bit grayed out, but it essentially mounts the camera within the mobile cart itself. So simple installation. With it being Mid-Atlantic, they always have great storage. So lever lock systems in the back for all your, management, all of those products, whether it's a little Nook, computer, whatever that may be. And then here's a very basic at-home, work from home solution, simple monitor and a docking station. So we can go everything from, simple basic like this, up to something more complex with, more inputs, outputs, monitors, all that sort of stuff as well. Other than that, I think that is it. We've got about 5 minutes left for questions. Art, if there's anything I may be missing there, feel free to chime in. Do we have any questions that I can help with?
We do have a question. Thank you so much, Travis. You really do have a complete solution. That was excellent. Are you offering design services to our customers?
Yes. Yeah, so that's part of my responsibility. And I can go back to it real quick, but this team of the solutions engineers, that is our design services. So we can talk with you and your customer, get the scope of that project, and essentially put together a drawing somewhat similar to this, with that line drawing, interconnect drawing. If you want us to get super specific with cable lengths, quantities, distances, all that sort of stuff, we can. Obviously, that takes a little bit longer. But yes, of course, we do help with design services.
Excellent. Question, you had mentioned a mesh networking system for the home.
Yes.
Can you speak more about that, please?
Sure. So that is from Luxel. Luxel, from where it kind of began, was founded more so in residential AV, but we've kind of upgraded some switches to more commercial applications. But it is called our Epic Mesh system, and it's going to be similar to a lot of like the Google Mesh at-home systems, the one I have here, Linksys. So essentially, you have all these different nodes around the home, and it's going to wirelessly, broadcast your Wi-Fi signal at home to have the proper coverage for your space. I'd be happy if they have any, specific questions or things I can help follow up on. I will actually mention real quick, there is on our website, it's our customer assurance program. And if you can actually reach out to Luxel directly, and you can put your scope of work and project in there, and a Luxel engineer will actually send you a certified Luxel drawing for anything networking, whether it's residential or commercial.
Fantastic. In your opinion, what is the most, or in your experience, what is the most popular home use product?
Wow, popular home use product. Honestly, I would probably have to say it's probably between monitor arms and docking stations.
Can you explain why a monitor arm adds value to collaboration and work?
Absolutely. So it seems silly because you would think you could just put your monitor on your desk with the stand it comes from, but that stand takes up space on your workspace, your desk. So it helps increase efficiency, workflow. I've got a couple of stands here at home. It allows me to kind of spread out more stuff on my desk, be a little bit more efficient. And it's also easy to adjust those monitors. So here, for instance, I have a sit-stand desk at home. Your sitting height from the eye level to your desk is different when you're standing compared to when you're standing. Or did I say that? Same thing, sitting to standing. So being able to adjust those heights easily, effortlessly is super convenient.
I think also to add is different applications within, that our end users are working on. Sometimes you'll have a portrait monitor along with a landscape monitor, so you can have that ability to kind of orient your monitors to that. Also adjust the height for, for your health. We're all different heights, set at different spots, not just at stand desks, but that ability to have it at a spot where you're not, putting more fatigue on your neck or your eyes or those types of things. A simple little piece of that monitor stand can make a big difference in actually the health of the worker. So it's a very popular product, and we have things built into them like power and charging stations. So it's not just a simple piece. We can kind of take things and eliminate extra stuff on your desk, which is kind of a big piece as well.
Thanks for that. And that sort of blends into our next slide, which